Welcome back to Versus TV 2-4, Season 3. And I mean, this one's a special one. We got Shamar Coombs in the building, from a player that I've known and I've battled against to a coach that I respect. You know what I mean? Shamar Coombs, one of the #1 trainers in Toronto, and he's doing his thing out in Vaughan right now. So check him out, check out the episode, and let's get it. Let's go. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Good, man. Good.
How you doing?
Shamar Coombs, man.
Coach Combs.
How you doing?
You don't know this guy? You need to get to know him.
A few people know him.
A lot of the whole city knows him.
Yeah, of course. He's around the basketball circuit.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Been a while. We trying to track him down for a minute now. You know what I'm saying? He's a busy man.
He's
He's a busy man.
It's been a while, but you know,
we got him here.
in the back of my head, I'm like, I gotta go see him, man. I gotta see him, man.
I appreciate you. Bad love, man.
Yo, why don't we just go off the rip? Top 5 coaches. All
Let's get
time. Top 5 coaches.
Damn, that was quick.
Top 5 coaches in the NBA.
Top 5 coaches in the NBA.
Who got fired today?
Yeah, they just lost. Memphis' Taylor Jenkins just got fired. Yeah. That's that sounds like some inside stuff. That's some inside stuff. Something happened.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No,
they're top.
That's definitely
They're actually top 5 right now. So
yeah, they're like third or something.
if I say top 5 coaches, are we counting Pop?
Yeah, we
Yeah, of course.
You got to throw Pop in there. You know, I really like the Boston Celtics coach, Mazzuto.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Huh?
I like him.
Yeah. I like the Raptors coach. I'm biased because I like European coaches. Me playing overseas, so I like the
So
way.
we're doing current top 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, you want to do old school or whatever it
We
is?
can do all time.
Yeah, you're an elder statesman, so come on.
But he said Pop.
Yeah,
Pop,
you did
so-
say Pop.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Yeah.
Pop.
Pop's like retired, but he's not retired. Like,
Well, my top 5, like, you know what I mean? I'm not really too much with the old school coaches. You know what I mean? They have
All
too
right.
much of the old school ways.
So forget the Phil Jacksons and the Pat Rileys.
Okay. I like Mazzuto, the Boston Celtics coach.
Oh, who was that? Joe Mazzulla. Justin Van Dyne teed him up.
You know, I like Detroit Pistons coach.
JB Bickerstaff is on the floor irate. He thought there should have been a foul called on the Hardaway shot.
Third one, I could say I really like OKC's coach.
That's what the officials are discussing.
Foul on number 22, Casey.
Not one away
That's
from
his second.
and Mark Dagnall just got teed up by Ed Malloy.
So rightfully so, Ed Malloy was on the baseline when Shea got hacked on the play.
Just because the way he's allowing them to play,
right.
you know, he's allowing them to flow.
Right.
You know, he's accepting the fact that he has young kids and he's making them work. And I always love that stuff. So,
Right.
no, that's my top 3. I don't know if I have 5.
No, I think we covered about. We
You know
covered
what?
about.
Yeah.
You're asking the man top 5 coaches like he's an old man. Bro.
No, he had to make me really think just a while ago.
No.
No.
Just wanted to get his perspective.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Man just started coaching. Bro.
Yeah, just started. I'm in my rookie stages right now, you know.
Well,
But,
no,
okay.
because I think you would figure. Okay, leading to the next question then. What got you into coaching? Is it more like an inspiring coach, or is it just like the love of the game itself?
You know, it was. You know, I never knew I would ever coach.
Okay.
You know, it was one of those where I never had that plan B. So it was always plan A was always hoop, playing ball, you know, going to play professional, whatever it is. So when, you know, COVID kind of made me really sit down and just really like realize like, okay, all right, what am I gonna do with plan B?
Right.
You know, I had so much time to really sit down and chill, you know, and you know, it just made me say like, you know what, let me start bringing kids outside and training them.
Well, were you playing ball before COVID hit, or?
Yeah, so basically, like, I left right after, like, so after the first, remember we had the first lockdown?
Right.
So after that one, they released a lot of it. So, you know, you have to do the 72-hour flight, 72-hour, and then you could fly out. So I left. I actually went to Colombia. My agent got me a deal, whatever, got in shape. Was working out with some of my pro guys back home. We all got in shape. Went out there, they sent me back home because of my 72-hour flight thing was all messed up. So I had to come back home. You know, that really hurt me, and then second lockdown hit right away, boom. So it was like, that's when it made me sit down and like, all right, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do next.
Yeah.
So more or less, it's pretty much for the love and the respect that you have for the game.
Yeah,
type of thing, that somebody mentoring you.
Yeah. It was. I just didn't know which way I would attack the game after playing. I didn't know if it would be player development or this or coaching. I didn't know if I could handle coaching. It takes a lot.
It takes a lot, of course.
But I just kind of fell into it. And I fell in love with helping kids first with training, and then I said, let me try out coaching after. So the training them was first, and then I landed into coaching.
So let's just rewind a little bit.
So
back.
speaking about love of the game, I remember living on white blocks. Right? And the next day, I don't know where I was, the next day, all I heard was, yo, Shamar came outside the hoop, blah, 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 it was crazy, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I didn't know who he was at first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We lived on the same block, right? And the next time, all I hear is that Shamar's coming outside today. I don't know who said what to who, but the word was Shamar's coming outside. And the block would be flooded. The block would be flooded. Everybody would come out. Because man's from 400, man from Gordon Ridge,
I love those.
Grimley, everybody was coming to white blocks to hoop.
I love
we had
those
the
days.
freshest ball
Shout out
court.
to those. Shout out to those.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So talk about those times and, you know what I mean? Hooping in the hood on the blacktop and man's from every hood, every school, just out there just for the love.
And that made me, man. That made me. I can't. You know what I mean? Those memories that I have in my head. I wish we had video cameras to really, so I could really sit down and really just watch myself really play. I think about that all the time, but just having everybody out there, even some of the guys the man that were just standing out there just watching. Some of them that don't even, enough of them that don't even play, they're just watching and I just
That was
loved
their NBA.
every day. It was every day, it was just always active outside. I wish I could see that outside nowadays, you know what I mean? But I tell the kids about that all the time, you're missing that part.
Yo, it's the thing is, what I loved about that, white blocks and 400 be beefing, or Brimley would be beefing with somebody.
Oh, those were battles. That 400 white blocks were battles.
Right.
All the beef is dead. Everybody's outside for ball. You know what I mean?
And that's what
we
it
would
was.
battle.
Yes, that's what it was. We would sometimes go to 400
Yeah.
and play the cages over there. It used to be battles, but it was all basketball.
Yeah.
It was it was the battle was in there. After that, we walked over to our
Exactly.
side. They're there. We kept it basketball. It was always just basketball.
By a patty and a cocoa.
Yeah,
and
man.
RC Cola.
The RC Cola. Those are legendary drinks. Yeah, our diet wasn't too good back then. Our diet wasn't too good back then. I keep popping away from my kids. So,
Right.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Those are good times, man. Those are good times, man. The blacktop basketball life, that's what made me. This watching Allen Iverson, watching Michael Jordan, watching NBA on NBC, and trying to go outside and mimic what they're doing.
Right.
Those are those that will always stick to my head. So that's what made me.
You fall on the blacktop, you see the white meat.
Yo, I tell my kids, much scrapes and drops. If I really scan my body, man, I got 100,000 scrapes,
Nice.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Are you currently playing ball? Besides coaching, are you?
Oh, I get it
You
in
just
with my
recommend-
kids right now.
Okay, gotcha.
But last summer, because I do player development with Scarborough Shooting Stars as well.
Okay.
So I play with them. You know what I mean? We in practice, I get at them. We go at it, and I still stay in the gym, try to keep myself in, but I'll always play.
Right.
I tried to play. I played in 5-star men's league. Played a couple men's league this last summer. So I try to really get up and down and really
Keep the stress level.
Yeah. The body don't feel good too much after a while, but
So
After one run, it's like you have to take a break.
Right.
Gotta take a break.
So you say you've been doing this for about a year or two? Is that
So I've been coaching for about, so with COVID hit, about 3 years now.
3 years? Okay. What would be, in your opinion, the pros and cons?
The pros is that, I get to work with kids.
Of course, you're right.
I get to teach them a lot of stuff that I never was taught. Just to know how it is as a basketball player, not to have, I've had coaches that I couldn't communicate with, and I always try to give them that outlet where they can always contact me, can always call me, you know what I mean, and just to be that type of figure for them, no matter it's basketball or outside of basketball, and just help them. So, those are the pros, and just being able to watch their development throughout their career, go from here to there.
Of course.
I always tell them I don't want nothing but your growth in the game, and that's mainly it.
So, we spoke about shooting stars. We had an interview in one of our earlier seasons with Mullins.
My guy.
Yeah. And you were also there when y'all won the chip. You know what I'm saying? How was that? What was the feeling like winning it at home? You know what I mean?
Man, it felt really good, man. We put in a lot of work with the guys. We worked really hard that summer as well. And it just felt really good. With the way we clicked that last stretch, it felt really good that especially for East guys like me, Daniel, you know what I mean? Like, we're East End guys. We were keeping that energy in the locker room every day, like it's an East End, you know what I mean? So, and we kept letting the guys, even the Outer Town guys too, they knew, and we just all clicked, and I love those guys. All that whole team was, you know what I mean? I love them to this day. I talk to them, message them, ask them if everything's good wherever they are in their careers, especially the coaches. So, it was a really, really good blessing, and I was really enjoyed to get that, especially earlier in my career.
Yeah. Do you think it's a gift or a curse winning so early in your career coaching?
It's a gift, because a lot of people don't win.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't win chips, so you got to take that and just take it as a blessing, and just move on from it.
Facts, man.
Okay, before we get sidetracked, let's show some flips.
You want to go first, or?
I'll go first.
Okay, cool.
So what we do on Versus TV 24, we're going to show you, well, to you it's going to be random.
Random clips?
Yeah,
random
it's
clips.
a random clip, and you just break it down how you see it.
You just break it down how you see it.
What you do in that situation and whatnot.
Okay. Like as a coach or as a player?
Whichever you choose.
Yeah, I like that. Whichever you choose.
Yeah,
right?
whichever you choose.
But we're also going to analyze it too. So all you have to do is press play and just show us what you see, or tell us what you see rather.
You already laughed. You already.
And mind you, there's a specific reason why I selected this, but I want to get your thoughts.
When I was watching this, and then he comes out, it's like, you know what I mean? But I won't say. I'll let you.
I feel like in this situation, what Haslam is doing is protecting Spoelstra.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
He's protecting Spoelstra because that's his guy. He's been with him for a long time, and he's realizing that Jimmy's probably not even, taking in what Spoelstra do. You know what I mean? And if I was, if obviously as a player, I wouldn't have got into a situation like that with my coach. But it's hard. Sometimes you do as a coach have players that, it's hard taking care of. It's hard coaching superstars. And people don't realize that it's hard coaching superstars because you have to cater to them. In a certain way, you have to cater to the superstars, right? Because they're the face of the franchise. So that's hard.
Right, and
they got an ego that comes with it.
Right.
And the ego sometimes make them superstars. So
then can I play devil's advocate then? I'm the franchise player, right? I'm the one I'm the nucleus of the team, right? I'm the one who was putting my heart and soul into this. Going back to Haslam, you're not even playing, right? So how do you have any input on what's going on here?
But as a star player, at the same time, you got to be coachable in any situation.
Like you have to be the leader
Yeah,
too,
you got to
right?
be
You
the
have to
leader
set an
on the
example.
court and off the court. You got to set example too. So at the same time, you got to be like, okay, I'm on national friggin' TV right now.
Okay.
I might just need to shut up and we can handle it later.
But what if I feel disrespected, right?
But you're a grown man.
With the Haslam situation, Haslam's gonna talk.
Yeah, that's
Because
who he is.
he's allowed to talk. There's nobody that can
But
tell
he has
him.
like seniority in the
That's
mind.
his play.
Yeah.
That's his play. That's his play time right there.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
That's what he's there
That's
for.
he's there to keep
He's
everybody
there.
in line.
Exactly. That's his role. That's why they're giving him that contract, whatever. But as far as with Jimmy Butler, like, there was, it's a lot of coaches bump heads with him because Jimmy's a guy that he wants things a certain way, right? It's working for him. He's good now because he's working with Kerr and he's working with Steph Curry and them.
Right.
And they already have the system.
Right, exactly. So he has to come in to prove something.
Follow suit.
Right,
Exactly. And
right.
you have to follow suit. You got to fall in place because you're dealing with champs.
It's
You're dealing
proven
with-
that their system
Right.
works.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You
So
know,
you
exactly.
can't come and mess that
but-
up.
And not only that, you fall out of line, Green's gonna sucker punch you, right?
Yeah, they're not afraid. They're not. Stick
the dog on him.
But they're not afraid to talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Green is not afraid to talk.
Right,
Like he'll call you
clearly,
in, like you know what I mean.
Right.
If they have to call Iguodala to come by, you'll talk to them. Like
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying. Like they'll call their big dogs. Like, yo, come talk to this guy real quick. You know, like
Do we have a second clip?
Yes, sir. So
right.
I was on my jack last night. Not to hit up an OG.
I don't even think I know the clip. Maybe did I see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
you see, yeah.
All
So
right.
I hit up an OG and I asked him, like, yo, what's a question that I should ask Shamar? And, he might know that comes from you, he might not. He's like, it's not really a question, but it's a statement. So he said, your post game is immaculate.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I'm quoting him. We interviewed him with his son.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said your post game is immaculate. And whenever you get it down in the post, everyone says, put him in the blender.
Oh, but he doesn't know who you're talking
But he yells
doesn't know
it.
who you're wrestling.
I think I know
He
what you're
yells
talking
it.
about. I think
Who
I know
is
what
that?
you're talking about. Huh?
Who is it?
Did they play on the
Was
same
it
team?
Cross?
Yes, it is.
Have they ever you two
Dwayne
ever
Cross.
played on the same
Oh yeah,
team?
Okay. No. He's older than me,
He's
but
older,
yeah,
okay.
but we used to
YMCA.
battle. Yeah, we
Okay,
used to battle.
okay. Shout out to the Cross.
Yeah, shout out to Cross, man.
My
So I asked him, like, okay, like, when Shamar's playing, like, who does his game resemble? So I want to ask you first, who did you pattern your game after? Who did you watch?
I kind of, it's quite funny. People ask me this. My game changed throughout my pro career.
Okay.
Right? I started to study a lot Kobe. I started to study him a lot. At first I was like, Kobe, but like I started to really study him and started to really pay attention to him, pay attention to his principles and how he works and finding your spots and where you're gonna get your shots, and really perfect those spots. And you know what I mean? And that's what made me really turn that post game into another level because I knew what I wanted to do, right? Growing up, KG was one of my favorite players. Yeah, KG was one of my favorite players. Just the dog in him and yeah. KG was one of my favorite players. So, it was one of those where it was like, I love the post. It just wasn't 6'6", 6'7", 6'5", someone like my cousin, like Denham. So like I didn't have that, but I love the post. So I know I'm not trying to put you in there. I'm just trying to get to my spot. And that's what I really studied Kobe. And it started with MJ too. Watching MJ,
for sure.
But Kobe really made me take it to another level throughout my pro career.
Okay. So then I asked Cross, who does his game resemble? So he said, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson.
Joey, ISO Joe.
You know what I'm saying? Funny thing,
I like the ISO Joe.
I was looking for some Paul Pierce clips, and all they seen was dunks. So I was like, this guy can't jump over a pop can.
Come on, everybody know me. I ain't getting up there like that, bro.
Layup king.
Yeah, what am I doing? I tell my kids this all the time, like, yo, coach, you can't dunk. I'm like, no, I don't want to dunk, but I'm gonna get a bucket though. That's believe I get a bucket.
Oh man, so I found this one's a little sequence.
Okay.
Break it down. Yeah, there we go.
And there's no secret Paul Pierce is getting the basketball.
At the Garden.
Here it comes. Felton on him right now.
Who's covering him?
Garnett the screen.
I thought it was Melo.
I think Felton.
Pierce driving on Stoudemire. The jumper.
You see that right there is what he just did. All he did was try to get in his body.
Right.
Yeah, all he did was when he got into his body, he created enough space, and that's just reading the game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that made me take my game to the next level.
What do you think about the pass and the defense on the inbound?
Ooh, big shot, huh?
I know, but it didn't count though.
No, yeah. It was a big
So
shot.
what do you think about, because
on the
on
so
the
like
inbound? Yeah.
so like the defense is too loose on it.
Yeah.
Too loose on them. But like as a guy like me coming dribbling the ball right now, I love this. I love this because now you're gonna switch. It's money time. Like it's money time. Like it's a bucket. It's a bucket.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, and that's why Cross probably said this because he knows all I do is I really just try to get enough space to get my shot off.
That's it.
I know where I'm gonna go. Like you switch, you make a mistake, I gotta make you pay for that.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So
Facts.
you know that's
Because
mainly what
even
it
playing
is.
with you at the Y, it was all just contact, boom, separate, splash.
That's it. That's what it is, man. You know, and that's the pro part of basketball.
Right.
You know what I
Slowing
mean?
it down.
Yeah, playing with a certain type of pace. You know, that's why guys are having problems with Shea right now.
Right. Right.
Because he's slowed the game down.
Young boy playing slow.
And he knows how to give you a slight bump to get that mid-range jump shot. I never used to be, remember me, I was always a tray ball shooter.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I learned how to use that mid-range, it's field day now. So yeah, I know how to play with that. I know how to play with that mid-range real well.
Nice. So what got you into basketball? Who got you into basketball?
Me.
Yeah.
It's just me.
So it's not like an athletic family type of thing, like my brother, my sister?
No,
It was just-
not really. Like it was just me growing up in the neighborhood and just literally watching NBA on NBC. And literally, I'm telling you, watching NBA on NBC and just going outside and going to play.
Mimic.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was little, I was young, I used to watch Bulls a lot. And, Michael and Pippen and them. I remember I wrote Pippen one time, and one time it popped up that you could write Scottie Pippen. I wrote him, and he wrote me back some months later. I can't find that where you wrote that. I can't find that letter. I try to look for it, man. A lot of my archive stuff I try to really look for, but, I can't really find them, so it is what it is.
Nice. So then, high school. What high school did you go to?
Birchmount Park. Then I transferred over to West Hill.
Okay. Why'd you make that transfer?
Time was due. I did my thing in Birchmount. I was, two-time Toronto East All-Star.
I see you in the papers and everything.
I was in the Michigan, Toronto All-Star games.
Right.
All these things. So I felt like I did enough. And they kind of had me on a little string where it's like I couldn't like miss school or nothing like that. And my mom just moved to over here by G-Way.
Right. Okay.
So by Galloway. So I was like, okay. Then I'm just finished there. Then I'm just finished graduating from over there in West Hill. Dawkins over there, that was his coach. My mom just moved there, so I was like, all right, let me connect with them.
Makes
and
sense.
Yeah, and I went there. But going to West Hill was different. Because Birchmount, it's like you're the guy and you're the only guy. I have a 1-2 guy, but in West Hill was like 6'5", 6'6". I had Javon, I had Jamar Burke, I had Keem Small, I had so much guys. 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Javal and Dane and Dwayne were the young boys. So those guys were all the young boys. So that's why I was like, yo, this is a school of hoopers. From Birchmount, it's just like it's a one few. I'm at a school of hoopers, so
Yeah.
it was a difference.
Birchmount's like athletics.
Yeah.
West Hill
It's
is
just ball.
Yeah.
It was a different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Birchmount is all running and they have their beat program and all that other stuff.
Track and field.
Track and field, yeah. So it was a good change of scene. It was a big challenge too as well. So you know, it hurt me because we went into the Toronto East Finals and we played Birchmount.
How did that work out?
I knew we were gonna crush them.
okay.
But there was still some of my guys, it was one of those.
So in that instance, do you wish that you were playing with Birchmount? Because you would have got more looks, more, you know what I mean? In that sense?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to play with them. It was just, situations where, were out of my hands, so I had to make that move. But I wanted to, I still have love for Birchmount. They started my career. They helped me go on, and I remember Hooptown GTA, man. Remember Hooptown GTA?
Crazy.
Oh man, I was in that 25-point club. My thing was going.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they had a 25-point club. After every game, you had to check online. Used to be the discussion board and everything, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, these kids don't got that now.
crazy.
They got Instagram now.
Yeah, I know.
Got Instagram now.
Hooptown, you'd run home, bro.
Yeah, you run on the group chat.
let me
Who's
see
talking
what
about the
I'm
tournament? Who's talking about the game? It used to be.
That's crazy.
To look forward
I
to
have a
that.
question for you. Being a prep school coach and being a former high school player, do you see a difference in the skill level and the type of players that you come across?
Yes. They got way more moves. They got a lot more moves, you know what I mean? They got Euro steps. They got the, all the moves that I really teach, I didn't have in high school. They have all types of moves that they got. They got
The step backs.
the step backs. Like we didn't have, we didn't
triple
do
step
step.
back.
Yeah.
Our step out was separation.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I was just telling one of my kids about a hezzy pull-up. Like, I tell them, but they don't even have that. They don't have a hezzy pull-up
don't have
because
the basics.
they're focused on a lot of stuff. And a lot of it with these kids nowadays, they're doing too much moves and they're not going nowhere.
You know why? It's because of the posting on social media.
It looks pretty.
So that brings it to my next question. So you see how the female ballers right now in the NCAA are killing it right
Yes.
now. Like they're just shitting the bed. And then you have the men that are there also showing out. Do you feel that the girls can show out than the guys?
Oh yeah. I love watching Juju and them. I love watching the girls right
my
now,
girls
man.
out right now.
You know what I mean?
ACL
Like, I love
torn.
watching them.
man.
I love watching the girls basketball because I make my kids watch that too because I try to tell them. I don't know.
It's more fundamental in skill.
Yeah, because look how they're moving.
Yes.
Look how they're running offense. Girls really run offense really well.
Yes.
That's my thing too. When I was coaching, I would tell my guys, men, we cheat the game because of our athleticism.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We can run and jump. We won't box out because we could jump over everybody.
Yes,
You know
yes.
what I mean? Not to knock the girls, but you guys actually play basketball.
Yeah.
And like
You think they're
fundamental
more fundamental,
basketball.
yeah.
They're more
like,
fundamentally
you box
sound.
out, you run the lane.
They don't
you know how to-
over-dribble.
Exactly.
They don't
You can see
over-dribble.
the plays being executed
Yeah,
each
exactly.
time. Yeah.
Exactly. Dudes, we
Make
cheat.
or miss. Make
Yeah.
or miss. You
Yeah.
see the play actually
You see
happen.
the idea of what they're trying
Yeah,
to accomplish and execute.
Dude,
Yeah.
guys, we cheat. We cheat all the time.
So,
Cheat all
like,
the time.
kind of harping on her first question and going back to, I guess, your coaching training. When you're teaching your kids or your players offense and defense, do you more focus on the technicals or is it about the attitude? Like, which one's more important? The technicals, or you could say the skill, or the attitude, the approach?
I could say the technical, like I gotta teach them the principles.
Okay.
The
So
principles
then
I
more
focus.
the attitude then.
Yeah.
More the attitude.
Yeah, like they have to
Because
understand, a lot of them, they have to understand the rotations on defense. You got to understand how to guard. Like if, for example, I know middle defense, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you're closing out on the left side of the 45, you got to put your high hand up, force baseline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of kids are still, I see kids in grade 11 and 12 still forcing middle, don't know how to close out. I focus on the little things.
Okay.
You know, I focus on the little things and really try to really break down guys, you know, and really just make them understand, because there's a lot of kids that you see that are older that and you could watch some young kids that are in like grade 6 and 5 and they understand the principles because someone took their time to break them down. And a lot of kids out here, there's a lot of coaches that haven't took their time to break these kids down.
Right. So is it important to have a hunger or an attitude? Well, mind you, I don't know particularly the age bracket of the kids that you're coaching.
Grade 9 to 12.
Okay. So do you think that, is it important for them to already have the attitude instilled in them, or is it something that you think could be taught?
No, like dog.
Yeah.
It's in you
hard.
already.
It has to be, exactly.
It's
It
like
gotta
by
be in you.
nature.
You
You're
know
a
what?
dog, it's in you.
And you could tell when somebody has that dog in them. You know what I mean? And you know, it's hard to just develop it.
Yeah.
You know, unless I bring them through some boot camps.
Yeah.
And bring them through
That's
the
some
dog
trials and
trenches. You know, so you know, like.
So is it fair to say
I tell them that all the time.
Is it fair to say that the inner you already has it in them?
They know their coach is a dog.
And I don't want to say like the hood or anything, but like
No,
the
like-
inner city. Sorry, the inner city.
Yeah.
The inner city. You think they already have it in them?
Yeah, a lot
because
of
their
inner city kids.
upbringing and.
Yeah.
Concrete jungle
It's the
lifestyle.
environment. It's
Yeah.
just the
And I
environment.
try to get a couple. I try to get a couple inner city kids and to mix with, like, cause I got kids from like all over. You know, I got kids from like Barrie, Richmond Hill, like up north and stuff like that.
Right,
So
right.
and a lot of them, you know, they don't get coached. They don't get that type of high level basketball, because my program is high level.
Right.
You know, everything you're doing is high level, and I'm taking you to another level, because if your goal is to get to college, I got to prepare you. So I got to do my job to get you right, all right? So I just literally I take it to another level with them, and I really let them know. Some people, whoever's going to break, they break, and whoever's going to keep going, you'll see it.
So when approaching a game, do you already, like, is everything already programmed?
Yeah.
Or do you base it off of that particular team that you're playing that day?
Yeah, no, I do my homework. I always
Okay.
do my homework. You know what I mean?
Right.
I study the teams.
Right.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes, you know, what really bothers me is because, you know, sometimes these kids don't really understand scouting reports as much. Remember, I'm not dealing with my program. I don't have like elite kids that really know that. A lot of them are just starting to watch film now.
Got you.
You know, so they're just seeing themselves actually when I'm breaking them down and, you know, showing them these things. So
Right. So you already know. You already have an idea of the team,
Of how they
you're-
play
you're playing
defense and how they
whatnot, right,
offense.
So you're better prepared.
Yeah.
Do you think your kids appreciate the sacrifice that you as a coach has to go through in prepping for a game?
Not yet.
Quick.
Being up at
Next question.
12, 1 o'clock at night, and you have to be there at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning type of thing?
you know, I try to stay positive, even though I do get mad when we do have games, and you know, I feel like the scouting report just went out the window. But I do stay positive and say, like, one day they're gonna get it, and when they get it, you know what I mean? It all come together. But you know, it's just a building. It's building. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm just trying to build this culture with them. You know, and you know, they're doing a good job. You know what I mean? So.
I have a question for you. Recently, me and Makaj, behind the scene, we went to a tournament, right? And we witnessed a game. Actually, you know what? Let me get your perspective. You're coaching a game. LJ, you could chime into this too. You're coaching a game. You're up by 30 points at the half. At the half. Halftime, what are you telling your players?
Continue to work on the things that we need to get better with. You know, don't take your foot off the gas pedal.
Right.
Keep
And this is
playing
up by
basketball.
30.
Yeah, keep playing basketball.
Okay.
0-0.
0-0.
Playing
Get back
basketball.
into the game.
It's only halftime, so it's not like it's
0-0.
Yeah.
You're up by 30 in half. They could get back that
don't
30.
take your foot off the gas pedal.
And I think Makaj knows what I'm alluding to, right? All right, so third quarter, you're up by 25.
Third quarter.
Third quarter. What's going in your mind right now? So 5 points has been shaved off your lead. You as a coach, what's running through your mind right
Still
now?
the same mentality, you know, no turnover. Let's limit the turnovers. Keep running offense. Keep doing it, focusing on our defensive principles. Keep doing the right things. You know, keep my rotations going in and out. You know, and yeah, just keep a flow of the game. Now, if it gets within a certain point frame, then you know, obviously, you know, you want to keep getting guys in and out. You know, you don't want to just stick with your starters if you're up by like that much. You know.
And I'm glad you said that.
Get them some rest.
Yeah. You know, get guys in a rotation.
You're up by 15. What's going through your head?
What quarter?
End of the third.
End of third.
Starting fourth quarter, I'm putting my starters back in.
Okay, so rewind. Up by 30 at the half, you have taken out your starters?
Up by 30, starting the half? No, my starters will still start. Or I'll probably put in some other guys. I'll probably start in some other guys for the second half.
Okay.
I usually do that sometimes.
I'd, you know, put my floor general on, let them start, keep everything in check, put my sixth man, seventh guy in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I put some of those guys in
This
for
is
sure.
up by 30.
Right.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So up by 15 now, so you're up half of the deficit. Or
Right.
End of the third quarter, you're down. Now you're up 15.
You're up 15.
Put my stars back in.
Put my starters.
Yeah, because the tide could change quick.
Yeah.
We get the starters in
Because
too late.
right now we're
Right.
negative.
Yeah.
We lost.
Yeah.
They went
We're
up
down
15.
15 now.
Yeah. They're plus 15. We're negative 15.
So for the audience, you would have taken out your starters. So you're comfortable.
No.
No, I'm not comfortable.
I'm
if
not
we
comfortable.
just
Down 15?
Yeah, we're
No,
you're up 15?
You're up 15 now.
Up 15.
From being up 30.
I'm putting my stars back in.
putting my starters back
Yeah.
in. Starting fourth.
So what if the question is now, say your starter's been hot the entire game.
Been
Okay?
on?
Hot. He's hot the whole entire game.
Yeah.
Now, like, this is a 10-minute quarter, 10-minute half. By 8 minutes, no, we'll say by 6 minutes, the other team has cut the deficit down by 2.
By 2, yeah.
You pull your starter off the floor. Would you pull your starter off the floor?
So
Keep in mind his last 2 shots he hit.
But right, and I want to get a coach's perspective. And mind you, this is something that was
We've seen.
witnessed, right? So this is not just fabricated or. So I just want to get a coach's perspective. You're, like Makash says, 5 minutes to go, you're up by 3. What is running through your
Are
head?
you
at
saying
this point?
starters or starter? Like one of
is
my
like your guard.
So one of my guards are like playing crazy. He's
Yeah,
playing
like
crazy.
your number one is number one. Like
Well, if
has
he's
not-
having that type of breakout game, and he's really going crazy, then I'm gonna,
the wheels fall
play
off.
him until a certain amount of time and be like, because I've done that. Like with you, if you're hot, like I play, right? So I know I don't want my coach taking me out.
Right.
I try to do the things as a coach that I didn't like as a player.
Fair.
So like, if I see him going crazy and he's going crazy and the energy's up and everyone's enjoying, I'm gonna keep letting him go.
Okay.
But there's a
right.
certain point in time that I'll be like, all right, now I'm gonna take him out.
Take
Right,
a
you're
1
gonna
minute,
make
take
him
a
rest,
2
but you
minute.
would probably
Yeah,
make
a
him
little
rest,
yeah.
when you would probably make him rest when you guys were up by 30, not when you guys have
Right.
when the deficit's been cut down by
Yeah,
3.
deficit's cut back down. He's back in
back
the
on the
game.
court.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
back in the game. There's no ifs, ands,
Mind
and
you,
buts.
I forgot to mention this is a quarterfinal game, meaning you lose, your season's done.
Oh no! Yeah, whoa, that's a whole nother. Yeah. Hold on.
He's coming on a stretcher.
Oh, there ain't too much resting. Hey, look, that's pedal to the metal. What are we doing? Like, hey,
Okay, so
too much resting.
in conclusion, you guys lose by 2.
Who? We ended up losing?
You end up losing by 2.
Oh. Yeah,
And you're the coach.
that's my fault.
Mind you, I'm fuming, right? So I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm on my players. I'm fuming, but that's just me. But
As a coach, you got to take responsibility.
You read the game wrong.
Yeah, you have to take responsibility because you know, there's times you can blame your kids.
right,
There's times you can say, like, yo, too much turnovers. You got 30 turnover. You know, bad shots. We can't make a shot or this. But like, if you don't make the right strategic substitutions and moves,
Right.
then you have to sit back and analyze. Sometimes I get home, I come back home, I sit back and analyze, like, what did I do? What didn't I do? What did I do? What can I change next time? You know what I mean? Like, you have to take responsibility too.
And it's funny enough because that's what me and Makaj were talking about.
So I have another question for you.
Hold on. Sorry, Makaj. Do you, after that loss, and you taking responsibility for the loss, do you share that with your team?
100%.
Of course.
100%.
Yeah.
I let them know that. I let them know that that's on me. I'll take that one because they've got the fire from me before. They've got the get at him in the locker room and stuff like that. So when they see me take that type of responsibility, they understand that, okay, like, coaches can mess up too.
Right.
And the thing is, when you're up, what I noticed, when you're up by 30, the refs are not going to really favor you. Let's keep it a bean right now. They're going to more favor the team that's down by so much.
Yeah.
You won't get the same calls.
Naturally, you're up 30, you're going to relax a little bit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I was asking you. Mind you, when I said halftime, you're up by 30, are you more calm?
No, naturally.
The only relaxing I would do is tell my guys probably like pick up at half. But we're still guarding hard. But we'll take off the press.
Right.
We'll take off our presses that we have, but we'll pick up at half and we will guard. If you're not guarding properly, I don't let you slack.
Right.
Because that turns into bad habits. And we don't want to learn bad habits because we're playing a team like this. So if I see you doing that, you get subbed out.
Right.
So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like that.
my
Makaj,
other
you had a question?
So as a coach, as you mentioned, coaches mess up, right? Sometimes you read the court wrong, of course, right? With that being said, if there is a play that you read wrong and your guard goes against your play and runs a different play because the team's receptive to what's going on the court, how do you handle that? And how would you approach it after the game?
Do they get a bucket?
Yes.
I have to have.
That's probably his floor general.
Exactly. That's either has to be my floor general, which is my point guard, or somebody that I trust.
Fair.
That I know that he can call that play.
Right.
And something's gonna come out of that.
Right. Exactly.
So their IQ has to be there.
Exactly.
Right.
But if you're just one of those that your IQ that you just did something crazy, best believe.
It's a timeout. You're going to timeout.
When you see my eyes is lit, they know when that guy's walking to that score table, like, yo, get him out.
Turn into Davis son,
You're about to have
Get him out, man. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Same scenario, right? You trust this individual, but they miss, or the play doesn't come up with a bucket.
But the play goes through.
They execute the play.
They execute the play,
But it doesn't go in.
but it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
LJ, he
No
probably has
bucket.
to respect that player for that.
I always tell my kid the way we train and the way we run offense. I said you're not gonna make every shot, but run the offense, run the play through. We make or miss. I'd rather you make it, obviously, But I will go to my player at a certain part of time and be like, those are the shots we work on, and that's what I need you to be consistent with. So you see how you're missing that? Get mad, go to the gym, and start working on those things.
Because LJ, you have to also realize that even though coach is on the sideline, he's not in the moment of the player type of thing, so he doesn't know what the player is thinking. So maybe the player sees something while being on the court.
I kind of do though.
Okay, yeah.
Because as a player,
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, as a player, and that's what I love about coaching right now, because I played at that type of level, where at a higher level, where and I've always been the guy on my team, so I know what it means to have that ball in your hand, to make that end game play, to make that end game shot, and to make those plays. So when I see those type of moments, I know which guy that I could put in that type of scenario, and I've had a few kids that I've put in those type of moments, and it's enjoyment when they flourish in that moment. It makes me happy because, sometimes they don't even think they could do it. And when you put them in that scene, I know you could do it, and I've had a few of those in my career, and it makes me smile, when I go home, probably pour a glass of red wine and chill back. And be like,
One of those. I'm one of those.
Yeah. But I'm more happy for them because they didn't know that they could do it, and they did it. So now you know you could do it. So don't second guess yourself.
So speaking about playing pro. You're a trailblazer. You know what I'm saying? You've been around the world. Tell us a few places you've been.
Well, I played in Kosovo.
Nice.
Yeah, that was another country where I didn't know nothing about that country before I went there. So, you know, playing out there was changing for me. Like, you know, it was when I got that call to go play out there, it was like, yo, you gonna go or not?
Right.
And I just went. You know, I was working out at the Y every day. I was in the gym damn near 10 to 5.
That's
Every
the Y
day.
hours, man.
Yeah, I was doing 5 days a week. So it didn't even matter where I went. I knew where I was gonna go. Wherever I went, I was gonna kill someone. So yeah, Kosovo was one of the places I went first. Then I went to Colombia.
Nice, yeah.
And in Colombia, I played about 6 seasons over there. So I've been over there for a good amount of minutes. So, you know, I have a lot of good fans and good Colombian family members out there. Like, you know, I really loved it. You know, and I played a bit in Shanghai, played a few tournaments from out there in Shanghai. So, you know, that's mainly what, you know what I mean? I played a lot of teams.
What was your favorite place to play?
Colombia.
Colombia. Why is that?
But I can tell you, my favorite place to play is Colombia. But I was a dog in Kosovo, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because it was like people don't understand the culture shock. That, you know, there was only 2 of us. It was me and the next guy that went down there. We were only 2 black people.
Okay. Oh, for what? Yeah. So y'all stuck
In
out
the
like
city.
a sore thumb. Oh.
Yeah, we stuck out 100%. He was 7 foot. I was, you know, 6'2". So we're just walking down the street, and you know, you see like blown up buildings. You know what I mean? Because Kosovo was in a war not too long back. So you're walking by blown up buildings, and you know, kids are playing in those blown up buildings. So it makes you really like say like, you know, like I'm out here, like, you know what I mean? It was just basketball. You know, it was just basketball. The gym was cold. You see the fumes coming from your head. Yeah, man. But it was just like lock in. I remember the first day I went to practice. And after practice, man, they brought me in the locker room and they brought me in the office and they're like, yo, we want to sign you for 2 years. I was like, nah, let's do the 1. We'll go with the 1 year right now. Sign it up, and you know, it's ready to go. But you know, it's Colombia. That's where things changed. Like I took it to another level. Like I was player of the week, and you know, just really killing. You know what I mean? I started really killing out there, you know, and I took my scoring to another level.
Is that when you started studying Kobe more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
you know, like I did. Trust me, I got like 3 books at home.
Okay,
So
nice,
I
nice.
did in Kosovo a bit, you know, but like in Colombia, I didn't post up too much.
Okay.
Because of my role was more of leader as a point guard, making plays, but I was a scoring point guard. So like I had to switch from being a 2 guard to a point guard.
Oh.
You know, and
That's a big switch.
It's a hard switch.
Mentally
and
it's a big
I
switch.
tell a lot of my players, and I tell a lot of players, you know, it's hard. It's because there's so much small guards right now in high school, and I tell them you're gonna have to play point guard because if you even grow to 6'10" or 6'11", it's still a plus that you learn how to play point guard.
Yeah.
But right now, you are small. You are 5'10", 5'11". Learn to play point guard. I had to learn how to play point guard my last year of university,
Right.
which kind of bothered when I was in Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I learned it while at Division I.
Wow.
When my coach was like, you recruited me to be a 2 guard coming from JUCO, but now I got to play point guard now in Division I basketball, and it's hard as shit.
Yeah.
It is hard. So I learned that way, but it's cool. But you know, I took my point guard skills to another level, and I realized that you have to get your teammates involved.
Right.
You know, one person that, you know, really we went to Columbia with me is Ashton Smith.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and
yeah.
playing along with him, you know, it kind of, you know, he's a bucket getter. He'll get his buckets, whatever, right? So I always like told myself, like, let me get him. One thing my coach always told me when I was in Texas, and he coaches right now in Baltimore, in Maryland. He basically told me, like, yo, listen, get your teammates involved. Get your guys involved. Once you get your guys involved, you'll get your flow because you can get it. So, you know, I just learned, I just get him, like, get it. If you're not getting it, then I'll get it. So let me get you guys, let me get my big guy, you know, reward your big guy.
Exactly.
Guards don't reward their big guys no more, man.
Right.
Yo, I tell my guards, I have to get up my guards like, yo, you keep telling him to come out here and set you a screen, and you ain't doing nothing with the screen.
Yeah.
He's human too. How about he reverses it? You stand up there and you go run in and start
Big man's
setting
running
screen.
the floor, bro. Like, you got it. Give him a 1-2 touch.
Make him feel comfortable, you
They're
know?
trying to make it too, right?
I always tell my point guards, be like this with your big man. That's what it was with
They
my
gotta
big
be
man.
best friends.
Yeah, I gotta be best friend because he gotta have my back and I got his back. Send me that screen early, I got you. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna drop it off right in your hands. You don't gotta do nothing.
No, just
just get it. I'm gonna drop it off right. I'm gonna put it in the right spots for you. But you gotta hit him on that screen.
Yeah, man.
That's what it is. You gotta hit him on that
Yeah,
screen.
of course.
Yeah, you know, so.
Yeah.
What does 2025 look like for Coach Coombs?
Man, progression. You know what I mean? Just progression, wherever it takes me, just building the program, getting younger.
Right.
Trying to get some younger guys in there, go to grade 6, grade 5, grade 7, 8, get younger and, with the program. But as far as my coaching, take my coaching to another level. If I get that, I always want to be able to coach in college, university, or to the pros, and take that to another level. So when that time comes, it comes. But, I always stay ready. I always keep my mind locked in, ready to go. Go from there.
So there was one question I always wanted to ask you. A few years now. How did you know? Because when you came in, we were talking on the side or whatever, talking about the pains you feel and blah, blah, blah. So how did you know it was time to hang up the sneakers and,
One of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that defining moment?
That was the hardest day of my life. I could tell you, retired. Retiring was the hardest day of my life, and why I really retired was because I said COVID. You know what I mean? I got in real shape after COVID. You already know everybody got out of shape.
Yeah.
We're all just chilling around, But I really went on diets. I went on juice diets where I locked myself in the crib, no leaving nowhere. None of my guys, no one seeing me. I was going to acupuncture, I was working on my hips because it was my hips that were bothering me a lot.
Okay.
Right? Because the way I play is just east to west.
Yeah.
I gotta, I gotta, so I'm like, if the hips ain't right, I can't shift no more.
Right.
Because I ain't zooming like Russell Westbrook.
But so it wasn't so much injury as most.
I never had no major injuries.
Right.
No.
Mike Miller coming up the court.
Yeah, I didn't have no major injuries or nothing like that. It was just mainly more to me maintaining and figuring out my lower back too. I hurt my sciatica. So later on in my career, so that was, I started to focus on really taking care of my body more like that.
Right,
But when I, it was COVID. I'm not gonna lie to you, COVID really, I still felt like I could have still went. Even after the whole COVID and when I even started coaching, people were telling me like, yo, you can still go, but I'm like, the way I train, you have to lock yourself in the gym.
Right.
And I was doing that daily.
Right.
I was packing protein drinks, sandwiches.
Or you're going ham.
I was not leaving the gym. I'm telling you, I was doing swim classes in the morning, sauna, weight room, then hoop session at the Y, hoop session after that.
And this is daily?
Daily. It's either you give into that or you just go and get a job and say you're done.
You got to look at that. Scarborough Y has everything right there.
It was all in one.
It's
That
all
was
in
the
one.
hub. People don't understand. That's gold mine.
Yeah.
I know.
That's a
Everybody
gold
talks
mine.
about Scarborough Y.
Yeah,
I wasn't really
it was a
familiar.
gold
like,
mine.
and then you want to eat, Town Center's right there,
Right there.
attached to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
You can take the bus, TTC's attached to it.
Right there it was a gold
Like,
mine.
so you know what I mean?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
At that time, I was like taking the bus. So I was like, it was just take the bus there, get there early morning, and I'm there, and I'm, just get into it. But as far as my body, it was just I didn't know if I could put my body through that again.
Right.
The grueling of a season.
Yeah, bro, because you put your body through a lot. You play a lot of minutes overseas. I was coming back home with a lot of pain in my body. You know, I had to get a nutritionist one time. My agent had to get me a nutritionist.
Wow.
Switch up my whole diet because I had to leave in another month. You know, she had to switch up my whole diet. You know, no sugar. I did a no sugar, no carbs for like 2 months. And that was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, yo, Kobe's not lying. Because that's what Kobe did. And no sugar.
No sugar.
Boy, I had no pain in my body at all. I was like, it's real. You have no sugar? It's hard though. Because out of all the guys that was working out, I was the only one that stuck to it. And I did it. And I was like, I went back over there with no pain in my body.
You know what? Noted. It's noted.
Flush,
Yeah.
detox.
No sugar, no carbs, take them out. Try it for a week or so, or 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So I can get into those routines.
Right.
It's not hard for me to get in a
You
routine.
have the discipline.
Yeah, I have that discipline. So that's why I try to
right.
teach my kids this. You know what I mean? I try to show them these type of diets and certain things to do and not to do. And I'm really on them about drinking pop and juice and stuff like that. You know.
That kind of stuff. Okay. Shamar Coombs, man.
Yeah, on the social, where do the audience find you?
You can find me at, what is it? _Coombs, Coach Shamar, _Coach Shamar. Yeah, I just made a new one, that's why.
Oh, okay.
And I have Coombs 33. I have 2 of them, so you know you can find me there. You can find me at SC Academy. That's my team page. And yeah, man.
Location, where's that at?
Location, we are in Vaughan. We're in Vaughan, Ontario. You know, high-level basketball. So if you're ready to work, you're ready to get better. And it's not always about the team you're on. It's about your development as a young kid.
Facts.
That's what I always say.
Facts.
Nice, man.
Real talk.
I was going to ask you if you want to say anything to kids, but that's it.
Yeah, you know, I tell, you know what I mean? I tell that to kids all the time. I try to really tell parents too. Because we live in a time where, man, there's so much teams. Oh my God! I know you guys go to the gym. You guys, you see a million teams at that Monty's. I mean, East.
Six Park. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 Park. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's so much team, but just like, and there's so much kids that I've had my hands on, but like they end up making bad decisions and going to a team that has a bigger name, right? And then I go to that gym. I go to that gym, and you're doing this right here. Right? But you could have been with me developing and actually having a starting role, but then you chose that, you know? But it's always all love. It's always all love. Everybody has a decision to make. You make your decision. You gotta live with it, but I got something else to build, and well, that's how I rock. So.
You guys, check him out on the socials.
Check me out.
This is the coach that you want to be with, right?
Yep. We're vouching for him. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Versus, man. I love you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
It was long awaited, man.
Overdue, but it was well worth it.
Appreciate
So
it.
once again, we have Coombs. You already know what it is.
Versus
Versus TV 24.
And we're out.
And we're out.